Welcome to Outside View Scandals, your weekly dose of global dumpster fires, political train wrecks, and celebrity meltdowns. I'm your host, and today we're looking at a world that seems to have collectively decided that integrity is just a weird word for expensive mistake. And I'm broadcasting from Germany, a country where we currently have a chancellor who thinks the solution to a failing economy is to yell at people for being sick. But we'll get to that. Today, we have 10 scandals from 10 countries, all from the last 7 days. So grab a drink, it's going to be a long week. Let's start right here at home. Our Chancellor Friedrich Merz has had a busy week. Between trying to hold a coalition together that has the structural integrity of a wet pretzel and polling at historic lows, he decided the real enemy of the German state isn't the crumbling infrastructure or the digital dark age. Nope, it's you. Specifically, you when you have a cold. In the last few days, Merz has launched a crusade against the telephone sick note. He's basically calling the entire nation a bunch of shirkers. His words, not mine, okay? Lazy Germans was the vibe. He's outraged that people can get a doctor's note over the phone. Apparently, the secret to economic growth is making sure that if you have a 40-degree fever, you must physically crawl to a waiting room to infect 20 other people. And that's the Merz miracle. Turning a flu into a pandemic to save the GDP. And the scandal here isn't just the lack of empathy, it's the sheer audacity of a man who worked in the private sector for 20 years, telling people with a cough that they are the reason the country is failing. Merz, buddy, maybe it's not the sick notes, maybe it's the fact that 71% of the country wants a sick note from you. Across the pond, the Epstein Files Transparency Act, which sounds like a very honest piece of legislation, has a bit of a snag. And by snag, I mean the US Justice Department has decided that transparency is a relative term. A month after the legal deadline, it was revealed this week that the DOJ has released less than 1% of the files. They claim they have over 2 million documents to review. Honestly, I've seen glaciers move faster than this department. And last week, a judge even told lawmakers they can't just attach their lawsuit to Ghislaine Maxwell's case to speed things up. So what are we missing? Oh, just the names of every powerful person who might have had a business meeting on a private island. And meanwhile, the House is trying to hold the Clintons in contempt for refusing to testify. It's like a high-stakes game of Where's Waldo, except Waldo is a billionaire predator and the map is entirely covered in black ink. And while the DOJ is hiding files, the president is busy signing papers. Last week it came out that Donald Trump has been handing out pardons like they are flyers for a failing nightclub. The latest fraud alert tracker from California Governor Newsom, who clearly has nothing better to do than watch Trump's pen, highlighted a fresh batch of pardons this January. And we're talking about people convicted of conspiracy to defraud the United States, mail fraud and wire fraud. And my favorite, a woman who was part of a scheme that defrauded the Oglala Sioux Nation of $60 million. And the message is clear. If you're going to commit a crime, make sure it's a huge one and make sure you're a fan of the MAGA hat. Small-time thieves go to jail. Big-time fraudsters, they get a frame certificate and a handshake. And it's not a justice system, it's a loyalty rewards program. And now let's look at South Sudan, where the definition of a political disagreement involves a bit more murder. This week, the UN Commission on Human Rights dropped a bombshell. Vice President Riek Machar and his allies have been charged with treason, with murder and crimes against humanity. And Machar's response? I have immunity because I'm the vice president. It's the ultimate, you can't fire me, I quit move, except with more aerial bombardments. And while the government and opposition play who can violate the peace deal faster, civilian militias are being mobilized and Jonglei State is being turned into a crater. It's a scandal of global proportions that the world is largely ignoring because there's no celebrity breakup attached to it. Speaking of which, over in the tech world, which is its own borderless country of chaos, Elon Musk's AI Grok has found itself in a nudification scandal. Reports from The Guardian last week revealed that Grok's tools were being used to generate thousands of bikini and nude images of women without their consent. And we're talking 6,000 requests per hour. Elon's vision for the future of free speech apparently includes the ability to digitally strip women against their will. This is a scandal of ethics, privacy, and the fact that we've given the keys to the kingdom to a man who thinks moderation is a dirty word. If this is the age of AI, I'd like to go back to the age of rocks, please. And in Haiti, the scandal isn't just the gang violence, it's the financial rot that fuels it. Last week, the Central Financial Intelligence Unit exposed a massive smurfing operation. No, they aren't laundering money through small blue cartoon characters. Smurfing is when you break down huge sums of illicit money into tiny transactions to avoid detection. They've been using false invoicing and real estate to wash millions in drug and arms money. And the scandal? This has been happening under the noses of authorities for years, enabled by entrenched corruption. And the only reason we are hearing about it now is that the anti-corruption unit has finally produced more reports in 3 years than in the previous 17 combined. Better late than never, I guess. If a doctor tells you that you need a diagnostic, it's usually bad news. In Nepal, the doctor is the IMF and the disease is systemic corruption. An IMF mission just wrapped up in Kathmandu last week, and they weren't there for the mountains. They were there to figure out why the country's money keeps disappearing into a black hole of macroeconomically critical governance weaknesses. And when the International Monetary Fund has to set up an action plan just to find where the bribe money is going, you know the scandal is deep. It's like you having an accountant who tells you, I can't do your taxes because your house is made of stolen gold and you don't have a receipt for any of it. And back to the States, but specifically Minnesota. This week, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, the new guy, took decisive action against a massive fraud scheme involving government benefits. And we're talking about billions of dollars in taxpayer money meant for food programs and childcare being funneled into a Somali fraud ring. And the scandal? Governor Tim Walz is being hammered by victims for lack of action. The Treasury is now offering cash rewards to whistleblowers. And it's basically Survivor Fraud Edition. If you snitch on your fellow fraudster, you get a check. It's a great way to build trust in a community by paying people to betray each other. Welcome to 2026. You also wanted celebrity scandals? Well, we've got a weird one. This week in Hollywood, the talk isn't about the Oscars. It's about Hollywood toxic moms, apparently the next big binge watch, and serious allegations against actor Timothy Busfield. Busfield is facing accusations of sexual assault, and the juicy scoop world is on fire. It's the classic Hollywood cycle. Allegation, denial, lawyer-led dismissal attempt, and a 6-part Netflix documentary. It's a scandal that reminds us that behind the members-only Palm Beach lifestyle, there's usually a lot of lawyers trying to keep the curtains closed. And finally, a bit of corporate spice. While not strictly in the last 7 days, the resignation was January 8th, the fallout and the whistleblower details have been the talk of the European business world this week. Felipe Silva, the CEO of Galp, resigned after an anonymous whistleblower exposed his undisclosed romantic relationship with a senior manager. And in the world of big oil and gas, apparently you can spill as much as you want into the ocean, but don't you dare fall in love with the head of the marketing department. It's a scandal of conflicts of interest, but let's be real. It's mostly just a reminder that even CEOs can't resist a good office romance, especially when it's strictly against the company handbook. And that's your weekend scandals, a world where the sick are shirkers, the fraudsters are pardoned, and the truth is hidden behind 2 million blacked out pages. And I'm quite sure next week we will have enough scandals to talk about. They are a gift that keeps on giving.